Hello students, welcome back. I hope your first day of online learning went well and you enjoyed your studies, and I hope that you had gone through the videos, the chapters we had sent to you. So, let's continue with our chapter, and today let's finish it up. We were reading the chapter The Best Christmas Present in the World, and so far we had read in the story that the author of this story finds a very old roll top desk in a junk shop. He buys it, he brings it home so that he could repair and use it. And when he opens it, he finds in a secret drawer a black tin box, and inside that box, he finds a letter. It was a letter written by Jim McPherson to his wife, Mrs. Jim McPherson, or Connie, he calls her. And it was written on 26 December 1940. 1914, remember, it was a war time. There was a war going on between England and Germany, and our main character Jim was an army officer in British Army. From the war front, from the middle of the war, he had written this letter to his wife, and it was about Christmas celebration in the middle of the war zone. He tells in that letter, we read that letter, it was very interesting letter. He tells that how they enjoyed Christmas festival in the middle of war, how they made peace. He says it was unforgettable Christmas party for him with the Germans. They played football match, they wished each other, they shared their drinks and food items. In the evening they sang Christmas carol also. So he says at last German officer brings up a very noble thought that why can't we end up our war, why can't we resolve our war with just like this football match, so that there could be no war casualties, nobody will be killed. That was a very noble thought given by that German officer. And if you remember the name of German officer, it was Hans Wolf. So we read that letter written by Jim to his wife. Now moving to the third part of the chapter. After reading that letter, the author, he continues telling his story, what happened then when he found that letter. He read that letter. He knows the address of also to where the letter was to be sent. So now let's continue with this third part. He says, I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. After reading, he folded it back, kept it in the envelope. I kept awake all night. That night, he says, he could not sleep. By morning, I knew that what I had to do. Means he had decided something, what he had to do now. I drove into Bridport, just a few miles away. I drove. With driving his car, he went to that town, Bridport, which was few miles away. I asked a boy walking his dog where Cooper Beaches was. There, the Cooper Beaches, the street name was given in the address, so he asked for that address. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell. When I reached there, I found house number 12 in Copper Beaches. Then I found out it was only a burnt out shell. It was house burnt, destroyed by fire, the roof gaping, the windows boarded up, the roof broken, the windows boarded up, covered with wooden boards. I knocked at the house next door. Obviously, there was nobody in that house, so in the neighbor's house, I knocked the door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of Mrs. Macpherson. If anyone knew about where he could find Mrs. Macpherson. Oh, yes. Sorry. Oh, yes, said the old man in his slippers. That old man came out of that house. He said, yes. He knew her very well. A lovely old lady, he told me. A bit muddle headed, but at her age she was entitled to be, wasn't she? He said that lady was a very gentle lady, very lovely old lady, but she was a little muddle headed, means a little confused. But at her age, it was natural for her to be. Why? At her age means 101 years old. She was 101 years old. So it's obvious that somebody gets confused or memory loss. That's why she calls her muddle headed. 101 year old she was. She had been in the house when it caught fire. Then he came to know that when that house caught fire, she was there in the house. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. The exact reason nobody knows, but it could be the candles that caused the fire. She used candles rather than electricity because she always thought electricity was too expensive. So she used candles in her house. The fireman had got her out just in time. Luckily, the fireman came and saved her just in time. She was in a nursing home now, he told me, Burlington House, on the Dorchester Road, on the other side of the town. So I now came to know that now she was in a nursing home in the other side of the town, and that nursing home was named Burlington House. I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough. So I went there, I found it, I found that nursing house. There were paper chains up in the hallway, and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner with a lopsided angel on top. Remember, it was Christmas Day because last day was 24 when he got that letter. So today was Christmas Day. So Christmas decoration he could see there in that nursing home also. The paper chains were hung up there, different lighted Christmas lighted were there, the Christmas tree was there. On the top of the tree, an angel was placed. I said I was a friend come to visit Mrs. Macpherson to bring her a Christmas present. I told the people there that I am a friend of Mrs. Macpherson. I am here to give her a Christmas present. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing. There, the people I could see everyone wearing paper hats like in a party and singing, enjoying. The matron had a hat on too. The matron, the in charge of the nursing home, was also wearing a hat and seemed happy enough to see me. When she saw me, she looked very happy that I came. She even offered me a mince pie, a kind of sweet pie she offered me. She walked me along the corridor, then she took me along the corridor. Mrs. Macpherson is not in with the others, she told me. She is not with other people. She is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. She was not feeling good today, so we thought it is better for her to take some good rest. She has no family, no one visits. So I'm sure she will be only too pleased to see you. She told me because nobody visits her. When she will meet you, she will see you, she will be very happy. She took me into a conservatory with wicker chains and potted plants all around and left me. A conservatory into a room I reached. It was also decorated with different kind of flower pots, plants, and leaving me there, she left. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair, Mrs. Macpherson, her hands folded in her lap. She had silver white hair pinned into a wispy bun. She was gazing out at the garden. "Hello," I said. She turned and looked up at me vacantly, without any feeling, without any emotion expression. Vacantly, she looked at me. "Happy Christmas, Connie," I went on. I continued. "I found this. I think it is yours." As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. She was continuously looking at my face. Showing her that letter, I told her, I think this is yours. I found this. But she was continuously looking at my face. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. That was the moment her eyes lit up with recognition, and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. Means it seemed that she recognized that thing. She became very happy. The glow of happiness I could see on her face. I explained about the desk, how I got that desk, about how I had found it, but I don't think she was listening. For a while, she said nothing. She kept quiet for some time, but stroked the letter tenderly with her fingertips. That letter she was striking very softly, gently with her fingers. Suddenly, she reached out and took my hand. She kept my hand. Her eyes were filled with tears. "You told me you would come home by Christmas, dearest," she said. "And here you are, the best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim, dear, sit down." I sat down beside. She said, "Come closer, dear Jim." Oh, she was confused. She was confusing me with Jim. She thought I was her Jim. Says you promised that you would come on the Christmas day and you have come today. She says, "Come close, please sit down." I sat down beside her and she kissed my cheek. "I read your letter so often, Jim. Every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. The letter I read every day, but also wanted to hear your voice. It always made me feel you were with me. And now you are. You are with me finally. Now you are back. You can read it to me yourself. You can read your letters for me yourself. I want to hear your voice. Would you do that for me, Jim, dear?" "I just want to hear your voice again. I would love that so much. And then perhaps we will have some tea. And I have made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan all round. I know how much you love marzipan." So very interesting story that comes to end. And now I think you can easily understand how it is considered the best Christmas present. Obviously, it was the best Christmas present for the old lady who was thinking that her husband, after so many years, have come back. Now, as we have completed the chapter, these questions you can see, and I think now you can answer these questions also. So that it will be the task for you to write these answers working with the text question. Okay, try to answer these questions. Let's just read it once so that you understand. For how long do you think Connie had kept Jim's letter? For how long time you think? Give reason also. Why do you think the desk had been sold and when? Think about it. Why do Jim and Hans think that games or sports are good ways of resolving conflicts? And do you agree? Okay, sports and games are better way to resolve any fight, any problem. Do you think the soldiers of the two armies are like each other or different from each other? You can find evidence from the story for your answer. Mention the various ways in which the British and the German soldiers become friends and things in common at Christmas. So, what things they did, what the common things you can find out, how they became friends. What is Coney's Christmas present? You know very well now, and why it is the best Christmas present. You have to write the answer. Do you think the title of the story is suitable, is the correct title, or can you think of any other titles? You can suggest your own title also. These are the questions you understood now. So, try to answer these questions. In the next part, I will be covering more questions of this chapter, some grammar questions also. Till then, you complete your assignment which I have given to you. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.